Some dreams are peaceful. Some fade the moment we open our eyes. But what if your dreams waited for you every single night? What if they showed you things that couldn't possibly be real until they were? In tonight's terrifying stories, two women are trapped inside nightmares they can't escape. Where reflections lie, reality bends. And sleep might be the most dangerous thing of all. So turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and whatever you do, don't fall asleep. The dream always starts the same. I'm standing under a black umbrella in a field of headstones. But the sky is bright. Sunlight bleeds through thick clouds. Everything is in color, except me. Everyone else in the dream moves like ghosts, slow, blurred. Their faces smudged like oil on glass. Except one. The casket opens, and I see myself inside. My hair perfectly brushed. My hands folded. A small cut above my left eyebrow. My eyes sewn shut. My lips stiff, slightly crooked. Dead. Peaceful. Final. I always wake up screaming. The first time I had that dream, I blamed it on anxiety. I'm a forensic photographer. I deal with death every day. I've seen mangled bodies, burned faces, bloated corpses pulled from rivers. Maybe it was just seeping into my subconscious. But then I had it again. Same setting, same people, same corpse, me. And then I had it again. And again, every night for 2 weeks straight. Then the dream started changing. On the 14th night, the dream was slightly different. This time, I looked down at my arms in the dream and saw a scar I didn't recognize. A long, curved gash running from my wrist to my elbow. When I woke up, I rushed to the bathroom mirror. It was there. Faint. Red. Fresh. Impossible. I took photos. Called my sister. She said it was probably an old scar I forgot about. But I knew my body. This wasn't old. This was new. From a dream that should have stayed in my head. I started journaling everything. Dream sequences. Times. Details. But they kept escalating. Night 17, I saw a street sign behind the graveyard. Whiteside Road. That road is real. I drove past it every day on the way to work. On night 19, I saw a man standing by the casket, someone I didn't recognize. Bald, pale with wide-set eyes. In the dream, he leaned in close and whispered, 3 days. I woke up gasping. My mouth tasted like soil. I called in sick. I stayed home with every light on, door bolted, windows shut. But I couldn't escape the sense of ticking, a countdown in my bones. Something was coming. That night, I fell asleep sitting up. The dream changed again. This time, I was lying inside the coffin. I could see upward through the glass lid. The man was there, the bald one, staring down. He said nothing, but behind him, I saw me, alive, holding the camera I use at crime scenes. I took a photo of myself dead. Then it flashed white. My ears rang. My nose bled. I woke up with blood on my pillow. When I turned on my phone, I had a new photo in my gallery. A photo of me, sleeping. I live alone. I went to the police. They chalked it up to stress. No signs of a break-in. No fingerprints. No nothing. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I returned to my apartment and found a note slipped under my door. It said, "You took the picture too early." Nothing else. Just that. Block letters. Sharp pen strokes. Like a child wrote it while being watched. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I sat by my front door with a knife. Nothing happened. But around 3 a.m., I started seeing shadows moving wrong, like they didn't match their sources. And then my phone buzzed. One new photo. It was me, again, but this time dead. Eyes open. A cut above my left eyebrow. Exactly like in the dream. The next day, I quit my job. I told them I needed a mental break, and they didn't argue. I'd lost weight. I looked pale. I wasn't sleeping. I started driving aimlessly, trying to avoid Whiteside Road. But it was like something kept pulling me toward it. Then, just 2 blocks away, I saw something. A police barricade. Flashing lights. Yellow tape. I pulled over, grabbed my camera from instinct, and walked toward the scene. I shouldn't have been there. I wasn't on the clock anymore. But something in me needed to know. It was a pedestrian hit and run. The body was a woman. Hair just like mine. Clothes I swore I'd worn before. When I saw her face, I dropped the camera. It was me. But she was still breathing. The EMTs rushed her off. I tried to follow, tried to ask what hospital, but an officer stopped me. Her name? Unidentified Jane Doe. No wallet. No ID. Just bruises and a cut over her left eyebrow. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? That night, I tried to stay awake. I drank 2 pots of coffee, but at some point I dozed off and slipped right back into the dream. This time, I wasn't in the coffin. I was standing next to it, but someone else was inside. It was that same woman, the one from the roadside. But her face was wrong, warped, like it was becoming mine. And the bald man. He was standing behind me now. He whispered, "You're bleeding into her." I woke up soaked in sweat. I ran to the bathroom. My reflection blinked out of sync with me. I screamed. My neighbor knocked on the door, asked if I was okay. I lied. But the next morning, there was a sticky note on my mirror. "Stop looking. Let her take your place." I decided to confront it all. I drove to Whiteside Road. And just like in the dream, the street curved past a church, then an overgrown cemetery. There it was, the exact field from my dream. Every headstone, every tree, even the warped iron gate. At the back of the lot, I found a plot with a tarp over fresh soil. No stone yet, no flowers. I pulled the tarp back. The wooden lid of a coffin peeked through the earth. Someone had started to bury it, but never finished. Suddenly, I heard footsteps. I turned. No one. But beside the grave was my camera. It was covered in dirt. When I turned it on, there were new photos. Me, sleeping. Me, standing by the grave. Me, lying inside the coffin. I ran. I don't remember the drive home. I just remember collapsing on the floor. When I woke up, it was morning. My apartment was different. Dim, quiet, dusty. Everything felt heavy, like air underwater. I walked to the mirror. No reflection. Panicking, I picked up my phone. No signal. No time. Just a blank screen. And a new photo notification. It opened automatically. It was me, lying in the coffin. Not the dream version. A real photo. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. My hands went through the phone, through the wall, through my own door. I walked outside. No one saw me. I was invisible. Then the man appeared. The bald one. He smiled and said, "The other one took your place. You shouldn't have watched your own ending." And then I remembered the dream. The funeral. The blurred people. The silence. Because I was already there dead. I've always had trouble sleeping. Some nights, it was racing thoughts. Other nights, it was silence so loud it turned into a hum. But lately, It's been something else entirely. Something worse. Something I can't explain to anyone without sounding unhinged. It started 3 weeks ago, on a rainy Tuesday night in Portland. I live alone in a small one-bedroom apartment above a tattoo shop on Hawthorne. I moved here for peace and quiet. No roommates, no late-night parties, no noise. Just me, and now him. The first time it happened, I was lying in bed staring at the ceiling fan. It was barely moving, creaking in rhythm with the thunder outside. I felt tired but couldn't sleep, not unusual. I remember closing my eyes for what felt like a second, and then opening them again. Except I couldn't move. My chest was heavy. My eyes were stuck open. I couldn't speak. Panic surged through me, but my body stayed still. I'd heard of sleep paralysis before. I tried to calm myself. Then I saw it. At the foot of my bed, in the dim glow from the street lamp outside, was a man. Still, silent, watching. He didn't look like a shadow. He had definition. Shoulders. A face. I couldn't make out the details, but he was tall. Too tall. His head almost touched the ceiling, even though he was slouched forward. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just stood there, like he was waiting. After what felt like hours, but was likely seconds, I finally broke free. I gasped, bolted upright, and flicked on the light. Nothing. No one. My door was locked, windows shut. Maybe a dream? I told myself that. I even laughed the next morning, brushing my teeth and shaking it off. Just some REM cycle weirdness. Nothing more. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The next night, I stayed up watching YouTube until 3 a.m., afraid to sleep. But sleep eventually wins. And when it did, it brought him again. This time, I awoke to the creaking of the ceiling fan and the sound of breathing. It wasn't mine. I opened my eyes, frozen again, and there he was, standing even closer now. Not at the foot of the bed, but beside it. On the left, inches away. I could smell him. Old wood, damp earth, and something else. Something sour, like spoiled meat. His head was tilted downward, but I could make out the shape of his jaw now. Angular. Wrong. Like it was broken. And healed crooked. His arms dangled beside him, unmoving, like they were too heavy to lift. Then his hand twitched. I nearly passed out from fear. My eyes filled with tears I couldn't blink away. I prayed, begged, thought of my mom, my ex, anything to distract myself. And again, just like that, it ended. I woke up hours later to sunlight, drenched in sweat. My sheets twisted and wet like I'd been in a fight. I started to dread nighttime. Work became hell. I was groggy, anxious, losing my grip. My boss noticed. My friends thought I was back on pills. I used to have a Xanax problem years ago, but I wasn't high. I was just afraid. 1 week in, and I stopped sleeping completely. I tried sleeping pills, meditation apps, herbal teas, whiskey. Nothing helped. When I did sleep, it always happened. And each time, he got closer. I started seeing him in flashes during the day, in the corner of my vision, in reflections. Once, I was walking past a storefront, and for a split second, I saw his silhouette in my reflection, not mine. That night, I bolted my bedroom door shut. I lit candles, played music, but eventually, sleep won again. I woke up paralyzed, and this time, he was on top of me, not pressing down, not choking me, just hovering. His face inches above mine. His mouth hung open, too wide, revealing teeth that looked like nails. I could see into his throat, black and pulsing like a tunnel. And then he spoke, but not in words, in sound. It was like a dial-up modem, a shrieking static noise that somehow hurt inside my head. I felt blood run from my nose. My ears rang. When I woke, I was on the floor beside the bed, bleeding, shaking, crying. I didn't go to work that day, or the day after. I went to a sleep clinic. The specialist was kind but skeptical. She said what I was describing was classic parasomnia with visual hallucinations, gave me prescriptions, and told me to come back in a month. That night, I tried staying awake with coffee and Red Bull. I made it to 4 a.m., but I must have blinked too long. I woke up in a different room. Not my bedroom, not my apartment. It was the same dimensions, but everything was wrong. The walls were gray flesh. The ceiling pulsed like a heartbeat. The bed beneath me was breathing, rising and falling. And he was there, not beside the bed. He was inside me. I felt him, like a second presence beneath my skin, stretching my thoughts, whispering things I didn't understand, telling me the truth. I was never a dream, he said, inside my mind. You dreamt the world, but I've always been here. I screamed myself awake. That was 2 days ago. Now, I don't know what's real. My mirrors show a version of me I don't recognize. My body doesn't feel like mine. And every night, I feel him coming back, stronger. Sleep isn't escape anymore. It's an invitation. My name is Rachel Velasquez, and for the past 8 nights, I've had the same dream. Not a similar one, the exact same dream. Every night, at 3:12 a.m., I find myself standing barefoot in front of a tall antique mirror at the foot of my bed. I live alone, and there's no mirror in my room, not in waking life. In the dream, I can't look away. My reflection is just standing there, still, wrong. She has my face, but something is off, the smile. It never moves. It's not friendly. It's watching me, waiting. And then, just as I'm about to scream, I wake up. Every time. Same minute. Same cold sweat. I work nights at a small diner outside of Fort Collins, Colorado. My boss says I'm losing it. I've been showing up late, forgetting orders, jittery and pale. But how do I tell him that I think my dreams are trying to warn me? It got worse 3 nights ago. That's when I woke up to find a bloody fingerprint smeared across my actual bedroom mirror. I don't own a mirror. I tried everything, sage, salt lines, even moved the bed. But last night, she moved. In the dream, the mirror didn't show my room. It showed a different apartment, one I'd never been in. There was a calendar behind her with today's date circled in red. Her hand raised slowly, pointing at it. That smile was wider now, almost tearing her skin. And when I looked closer, I realized something horrifying. She was wearing my uniform, bloodstained, burned. I haven't gone to work today. I'm sitting in the corner of my bedroom, door locked, waiting for 3:12 a.m. It's 3:11 now. The temperature's dropping, and there's a knock on my closet mirror from the inside.